Welcome back to Harriet's Above Ground Railroad YouTube channel. My name is Anthony Ross, and I am the president and CEO of the Harriet Tubman Ross Foundation. And the purpose of this channel is to take the viewer through a journey through the history of slavery from beginning to present, and to increase your knowledge and understanding of systemic racism. I would also encourage you all to click the link that will be in the description below, which will take you to the Harriet Tubman Ross Foundation. So with that, I'll start the video off with what I always do, which is the three questions that I always ask. And the first question is, why was this group targeted to be enslaved worldwide, and why were they made to continue to suffer? Why did the rest of the world accept this behavior? Governments, rulers, and religions. And lastly, why don't people realize the present day effects on these people? So with that, we'll get into the video. 1854, Paris, France. James Augustine Healy, later the first American Black Roman Catholic bishop, is ordained a priest at Notre Dame Cathedral. 1854, Ohio. John Mercer Langston, who was born a slave in Virginia, is admitted to the Ohio bar. Langston is to become dean of Howard University and the first Black to win elective office in the history of the United States. 1854, New England. The New England Immigration Society organizes to settle ex-slaves in Kansas. 1854, Peoria, Illinois. In his first statement on slavery, Abraham Lincoln opposes its extension to Western territories. 1855, New York. The Liberty Party nominates Frederick Douglass for Secretary of State, the first Black nominated for statewide office. 1855, Maine, Massachusetts, and Michigan. The slavery issue is further polarized by enactment in these states of laws forbidding state officials from aiding the federal government in enforcement of the fugitive slave laws. The Massachusetts legislature abolishes school segregation, and integration proceeds without incident. 1856, Ohio. Wilberforce University is founded by the Methodist Episcopal Church. Blacks in Ohio are given control of their own schools. 1856, Missouri and Kansas. Pro-slavery forces sacked the town of Lawrence, noted for its abolitionist, free soil sentiment. 1856, the United States. George Vashon publishes an anthology of his poetry, including Victor Oji, an anti-slavery work about a Haitian mulatto. 1856, Washington, D.C. Senator Sumner of Massachusetts is severely beaten on the Senate floor by Representative Brooks of South Carolina. Sumner is in the midst of attacking slave owners and those who favor pro-slavery legislation. 1857, Washington, D.C. In the Dred Scott decision, the U.S. Supreme Court, by a vote of 6-3, opens federal territory to slavery, denies citizenship rights to blacks, and decrees that slaves do not become free when taken into free territory. Scott himself is freed by his owner. The Dred Scott decision is followed by a ruling that blacks are not entitled to land grants. 1857, Maine, and New Hampshire. Continuing to defy fugitive slave laws, these states grant freedom and citizenship to people of African descent. 1858, Illinois. In debates with Douglas, Lincoln states opposition to slavery, but declares that equality between the races is impossible. 1858, Washington, D.C. U.S. Attorney rules slaves cannot patent inventions because they are not citizens. Jefferson Davis is unable to patent a boat propeller invented by a slave of his, Benjamin Montgomery, because slaves cannot assign inventions to owners. 1858, Vicksburg, Mississippi. The Southern Commercial Convention calls for reestablishment of the slave trade, despite opposition from Tennessee and Florida delegations. 1859, Harper's Ferry. John Brown and his band, 13 whites, 5 blacks, attack Harper's Ferry. 2 blacks are killed, 2 are captured, 1 escapes. Brown is later hanged at Charlestown, West Virginia. 1859, Baltimore. Businessmen complain at slaveholders' convention that free black laborers and entrepreneurs monopolize some service industries. However, a resolution to expel free blacks from the state fails. 1860, the United States. Policies of pro and anti-slave forces continue to polarize as the country edges towards civil war. In Virginia, a law provides that free blacks can be sold into slavery for committing imprisonable offenses. Maryland forbids manumism. President Buchanan advocates a constitutional amendment confirming the Fugitive Slave Acts. The Democratic Party platform supports the Dred Scott decision. The Republican platform opposes the expansion of slavery into the Western territories. And Lincoln, still a moderate on the subject of abolition, is elected president. On December 17th, South Carolina secedes from the Union. 1861, the Confederacy. The Confederates attacked Fort Sumter, South Carolina, marking the beginning of the Civil War. Jefferson Davis is elected president of Confederate States of America and defends slavery as necessary to self-preservation. The Confederates conscript slaves for military supporting jobs. Some Confederate states use free blacks in armed forces. 1861, Washington, D.C. The Secretary of the Navy solicits enlistment of blacks, but most black offers to help military are rejected. Federal policy towards liberated slaves is erratic, depending mostly on the viewpoint of individual commanders. Lincoln moves warily, countermanding General Fremont's orders that slaves of masters who fight against the Union are to be declared free men. 1861, Boston. William C. Nell is appointed a post office clerk, becoming the first black person to hold a federal civilian job. 1862, Washington, D.C. President Lincoln proposes plan for gradual compensated emancipation of slaves. Included is a prevention to subsidize immigration to Haiti or Liberia. Lincoln's cautious policies are clarified in a letter to Horace Greeley, in which he states his paramount objection as saving the Union not either to save or destroy slavery. However, Lincoln does sign bills abolishing slavery in the territories and freeing slaves of masters disloyal to the United States. Military commanders are forbidden from returning fugitive slaves to owners, and in September, Lincoln issues an ultimatum giving hostile areas until January 1st to cease fighting or lose their slaves. So that brings us to the end of today's video. And I'll end today's video the same way I always do, and I'll ask the same three questions. Why was this group targeted to be enslaved worldwide, and why were they made to continue to suffer? Why did the rest of the world accept this behavior? Governments, rulers, and religions. And lastly, why don't people realize the present day effects on these people? So with that, I would encourage you all to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also down in the description, click the link that'll take you to the Harriet Tubman Ross Foundation. I hope you all will visit the website, but most importantly, I hope you all will get involved and help Harriet achieve her dream. Thank you.